Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming today. The Calgary Police Service, alongside our community partners, are here to talk about the growing issue and dangerous problems that is caused by the theft of copper wire. You'll be hearing from several voices today, and we'll also be sharing 2 letters that highlight the real impact of these crimes. We've got several people who will be speaking to us, and we'll go through those in order. The first one will be Staff Sgt Colin Chisholm.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for all of the individuals who have attended here today to discuss what you've heard as copper wire theft. It is a big concern when critical infrastructure is targeted, telecommunications and utilities. We're currently investigating approximately 40 incidents to date related to telecommunications infrastructure. These crimes targeted telecommunications and utility infrastructure, resulting in service disruptions and expensive restoration efforts to the providers. Copper theft is not a victimless crime. When copper wire is stolen from utilities and telecommunications infrastructure, it leaves communities literally in the dark without electricity, internet, and emergency communications. We're asking Calgaryans to help us prevent these dangerous thefts, which often occur in the early morning hours when it's dark. Legitimate repairs by service providers generally do not occur during this time of day, and we urge Calgarians to report any suspicious activities. These thieves are doing this for profit. They get approximately $5.50 to $6 per pound for the copper. The thieves often enter manholes from streets and alleys to access copper wire. They utilize vehicles, winches, etc. to extract the copper from these manholes and tunnels. Obviously, they need some type of saws. It's really incumbent upon us to be successful for the community citizens to be our eyes and ears. Please report any suspicious activity when you hear it. Obviously, we had an incident in Brook Park Drive just this past weekend where individuals stole approximately 400 meters of the copper wire. And the copper wire is such that it's extremely heavy, so they need winches. Sometimes they hook up the cut copper wire to vehicles to pull the wire out. They cut it into sections and then they burn it. So we need people to report this these type of incidents when they see them to police right away. So we are definitely looking for the public's assistance to help us locate these offenders and charge them. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Staff Sgt Luke Halverson with the Alberta RCMP. The theft of copper wire and other metals is a prevalent issue in Alberta, but in particular in rural Alberta. Many energy sites, farms, irrigation systems are in remote and isolated areas, making them an easy target for thieves. We know that when these sites are attacked by thieves, the cost of the damage to the site, the business, the farm, and the disruption to the operation far outweighs the value of the metal stolen. In addition to the public safety risk posed by many of these thefts can render equipment, infrastructure, and entire sites inoperable, which threatens the livelihood of workers, landowners, farmers, and the viability of businesses of all sizes. The Alberta RCMP works closely with our industry and agricultural partners to address their concerns share best practices for crime prevention and detection, and keep on top of emerging crime trends. The Alberta RCMP uses data and intelligence to target offenders who are causing the most harm and take all appropriate enforcement action. We focus our patrols on the areas we know are the most crime impacted. Our detachments remain committed to being as visible as possible to detect and deter crime. The Alberta RCMP employs specialized crime reduction units that utilize a variety of overt and covert techniques to apprehend priority offenders. It's vitally important that all copper and metal thefts get reported to the police so that we're working with the best available information. If citizens are aware of who the thieves are, we ask that they contact police through 310 RCMP or Crime Stoppers if they wish to remain anonymous, and report all suspicious activity as soon as possible. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm David King, volunteer board member for Calgary Crime Stoppers. Calgary Crime Stoppers has a trusted partner since 1982 as a not-for-profit that has stood strong to support the reduction of crime in Calgary. On behalf of Calgary Crime Stoppers, I want to begin with a heartfelt thanks to all of our partners, agencies, and community members for coming together today to raise awareness, sharing concerns, and strengthening education on copper wire theft. This kind of collaboration is exactly what makes our communities safer and stronger. As part of the Calgary Crime Stoppers' strategic priorities, copper wire theft continues to be a growing concern. It's not a victimless crime. It affects entire communities and our rural partners, the farmers. When copper is stolen, it can knock out power, disrupt communication, delay emergency services, destroy entire crops, and cost thousands of dollars to repair. Beyond the financial impact, it creates real safety risks for workers and residents alike. At Calgary Crime Stoppers, we've been working hard to raise public awareness, helping people understand what to look for, what you see or you recognize, suspicious activity, and most importantly, how to report it safely. The feedback so far has been positive, but it's also clear that more education is needed. Community events, people tell us, they don't realize how widespread and dangerous this crime is. That's why your continued support through conversations, community groups, and other media partners is so important. Together, we can keep this message strong and visible. There are 3 ways to report. Call 911 if you see a theft in progress or someone's in danger. Use the non-emergency police line for suspicious and non-urgent situations. Or you can report anonymously to Calgary Crime Stoppers online at calgarycrimestoppers.org, or with our 1-800 number, 222-TIPS. And we also have an app, P3 Tips. Through Calgary Crime Stoppers, we don't ask for your name, we don't ask for your address or your email, only the information you have about the crime. Your identity stays completely anonymous, guaranteed. And if your tip leads to an arrest or charges, you could be eligible for a cash reward up to $2,000. Your voice matters. Your information could be the key that helps stop copper wire theft and keep our communities safe. Thanks again to the Calgary Police Service as our host and all the media partners that are here today to help us spread this message. Calgary Crime Stopper urges all Calgarians to take a stand, speak up, report crime anonymously, and help keep us safe. As the banner says, what you see, what you hear, what you know, that will solve a crime. Now I'd like to read just a quick testimonial from a pharmacist in Ogden whose business was impacted by copper theft, and it reads, as a pharmacist working for a large pharmacy chain, copper theft wire has a direct and devastating impact on our ability to care for patients. When communication lines are cut, our systems go offline, meaning we can't access patient records or release essential medications. It's heartbreaking when the patients come down to their last dose, then ask us to get their prescription and no answer. This isn't this isn't a convenience. It's a serious risk to people's health and well-being. Copper wire theft affects real lives.
Good morning, and I would like to thank everybody for coming today. I'd like to thank the CPS for hosting the event, and I'd like to thank our partner Crime Stoppers for arranging this lovely event, and I'd like to thank the media for coming. My name is Rick Spangler. I'm the Director of Network Engineering Operations for Telecommunications in Alberta. It's my team that supports these events, the copper cable theft. And this is not a victimless crime, as you heard. It puts every community at risk, every customer at risk when they occur. It affects 911 service. So for customers that only have dial tone phone, they cannot contact 911, they cannot contact the police, they cannot contact family. And if they have an emergency alert device, that device will not work or operate. So it is pretty significant. In Calgary, we've seen 55 events this year compared to 35 last year. So it is on the rise. Nationally, we've seen 372 events compared to 252 events since 2024. At the same time, thieves are becoming a little bit more sophisticated. They're showing up with PPE. They're showing up with sophisticated equipment, hydraulic cutters, saws, grinders. We've found winches in manholes. We have found batteries in manholes to power those winches. This is not people just going in to get a foot of cable. They're yarding out significant amounts of cable, and it has a significant effect on the community. And in turn, they're also cutting fiber optic cables. They cut them, they see it's not copper, they leave them. Well, a single fiber cable could affect tens of thousands of people, not just hundreds of people. It's pretty significant. Again, these carry landline services. They also carry internet services for the city of Calgary. These services are paramount to any customer. Again, some customers just have landline, some customers have both landline and internet, and that service would be disrupted for them. What is TELUS doing about it? Well, we are hardening our infrastructure where we can. We are using security devices such as cameras, alarms. We're also using locking devices for our manhole lids. It has been fairly successful. But we're one step behind all the time with regards to this because we do not know where they're going to go next. We're also accelerating our fiber builds within places like Calgary and in neighborhoods within Calgary to hopefully migrate these customers in the future to a fiber optic service, a more reliable service and not one that would be associated with theft. So, but that takes a long time. That isn't an overnight fix. That's going to take a year to 2 years to complete those builds. We need stronger deterrence. We need federal legislation to keep these criminals and charge these criminals effectively and keep them in jail. The Alberta government recently passed Bill 49, which is really geared towards scrap metal dealers. And I think that's going to have a positive effect. I can't thank the RCMP, the crime reduction units, as the constable talked about, and also the CPS and other police authorities in Alberta. They have been great support to us and to industry. It's important to understand that this is not a TELUS problem, it's an industry problem. You know, I liken this comment to, and you've all heard it, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to stop this. Like, we do need the federal government, we need the provincial government, we need the police authorities, we need the community. A lot of our technicians that go out and fix these cables, they'll go knock on doors and get video evidence, and then we'll turn it over to the CPS. So it does take everybody to do this. The one thing I can tell the public is please do not engage these individuals. These individuals are very dangerous people. They're not to be messed with. If they see anything, please contact 911, please contact Crime Stoppers. You can also call 310-CUTS at TELUS, that's C-U-T-S, and report it there. We will also, at that time, engage the police authority to investigate. So please, from a public safety perspective, please don't engage these individuals. And I would, again, like to thank everybody. Again, this is not a victimless crime. People are the safety of the community, and people's personal safety are at risk. So thank you very much.
I'd like to read out a quick letter from Jazar Hallen, and he is the member from Parliament for Calgary East. And he says, I'm writing to express my full support of Calgary Crime Stoppers campaign to raise awareness and take action against growing issue of copper wire theft in our city, particularly in the community of Ogden, part of my riding of Calgary East. Copper theft has become a serious concern across Calgary, disrupting essential infrastructure and creating real hardships for residents and businesses alike. Over the last few years, we have seen increasing instances where vital communications and electrical systems have been damaged or stolen, especially from manholes. The effects are particularly distressing for our seniors, who often depend on reliable phone and emergency connections, and for our small businesses that face costly interruptions in serving their customers. This crime is not victimless. It impacts community safety, public confidence, and well-being of every Calgarian. Addressing copper wire theft requires collaboration between law enforcement, municipalities, industry leaders, and residents. I commend Calgary Crime Stoppers for leading the charge in this issue and for issuing the citizens a safe and anonymous way to report information that can prevent further incidents. My office was recently affected as we lost internet access for a day before it was restored very quickly by our service provider. But our phones were down for a few weeks, which affected constituents who were trying to call my office for assistance. I encourage all members of the community to stay alert, report suspicious activity, and support initiatives like this campaign that strengthens and collective resilience. Together, we can safeguard our infrastructure and protect the quality of life. Sincerely, Jazar Singh Hallen, Member of Parliament, Calgary East.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Troy Tangado with the Western Irrigation District. I'm the Chief Executive Officer. Thank you to the Calgary Police Service for hosting us and Calgary Crime Stoppers for organizing this event. Western Irrigation District was first established by the Canadian Pacific Railway back in 1894. We cover over 900,000 acres of lands east of Calgary, with over 600 irrigation rights holders irrigating over 100,000 acres of croplands. Our organization also provides raw water for stock, animals, industries, and municipalities, along with infrastructure in support of stormwater discharge. Our irrigators are directly impacted from copper theft in varying degrees. The actual cable replacement cost per pivot range from anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 to replace, which is significant. However, the work to reinstall the cables is in most cases the larger frustration for our impacted farmers and irrigators, as there's significant work and time required to reinstall. In most cases, this would not be considered a major issue if it was a one-time event, but when it happens multiple times over a season, we can all understand the frustration along with the costs are no longer a minor concern. The more serious issue and potential impact is if a pivot is unable to operate when needed to apply water to our crops. The consequence of lack of water can cause a significant loss in crop yield and production, which in turn could result in over $100,000 in losses or greater per quarter of land or per pivot. With nearly 900 pivots in our district, the potential losses are in the millions of dollars, and in turn leading to massive negative implications to our farmers' businesses. For example, this year we had a farmer who had a pivot cable stolen for the second time in the season, and due to the timing of the theft, he was unable to get a replacement cable for over 6 weeks. He was truly stressed, and as he had already spent money seeding and fertilizing, his input costs were sunk. He told me he was at risk of losing close to $240,000 in production revenues due to not being able to run his pivot. Fortunately, in his case, he ended up getting rain at the opportune time, which saved his crop, but his risk and his stress were real. Our farmers are frustrated as we've seen a significant increase in cables being stolen in our district over the last 2 years, which has raised the Western Irrigation District's concern. I've heard from another long-term irrigator who had his cable stolen twice in just over a 2-week period, and after replacing the cable the very next day, his pivot was down again and not running, less than 48 hours of run time. These thefts disrupt critical water delivery to farms, increase costs for our ratepayers, and put public safety at risk. For this reason, the Western Irrigation District is proud to partner with Crime Stoppers to help bring awareness to this issue and to encourage anyone with information to come forward. Together, we can protect the resources that support our agricultural economy and our rural communities. Thank you.
I have one more letter I'd like to read out. It's from the Public Safety and Emergency Services Officer of the Minister, Deputy Premier of Alberta. Dear Mr. King, thank you for the invitation to attend the Copper Theft Awareness and Prevention Media event on October 22nd. I apologize for being unable to attend prior to prior commitments, but I am more than happy to respond. The rise in scrap metal related crime, particularly copper wire and catalytic converter theft, poses a serious threat to our public safety, critical infrastructure, the economy, and rural communities across the province. The theft of essential infrastructure components like copper wire is not a victimless crime. It's an attack on the security and well-being of every Albertan. It disrupts critical services, endangers workers, and causes millions of dollars in damages to businesses and municipalities. We commend the Calgary Crime Stopper Association, the Calgary Police Service, the RCMP, and all law enforcement across Alberta for coming together to raise awareness and coordinate a prevention strategy. Your collective effort is vital. To give law enforcement flexibility and tools needed to effectively combat this organized criminal activity, Alberta government recently introduced passed Bill 49. The Public Safety and Emergency Services Statutes Amended Act 2025. The legislation includes key amendments to the Scrap Metal Dealer and Recyclers Identification Act, which have expanded sales reporting requirements to include all business-to-business transactions, closing a major loophole. Required detailed transactions recordings include VIN and other proof of ownership for catalytic converters. Also, law enforcement is to issue violation tickets for non-compliance, streamlining the enforcement process. These measures will strengthen traceability, disrupt the illicit market for stolen metals, and help restore the sense of security that has been stolen from our communities. We stand united with our police services and community partners in the fight against this organized crime and metal theft. We wish you a successful and impactful event in amplifying this critical message. The Honourable Mike Ellis, Deputy Premier of Alberta, Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services. I'll turn it back to Nick.
Thank you, everybody, for coming as we wrap up. We just want to remind the public and everyone to stay alert. As we've heard, this affects every single individual. The perpetrators of these acts they're not our neighbours, they're not our friends, they're people who are mainly out to cause as much harm and interference with our regular working life as they can. And so we encourage everybody to be very aware of what's happening, to keep an eye out. If you see something suspicious, please report it. This can be done on the non-emergency lines here in Calgary. That's 403-266-1234. Or if you think that it's actually a crime in progress, please call 911. And if you have information, then please contact Crime Stoppers to pass that information. all of this is vitally important because it's been made aware by all of our speakers here today. This is something that affects each and every one of us. Thank you very much.
Chisholm?
Sure, the police
Yeah,
will
the
go first.
detective
Yeah.
Chisholm.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you guys are welcome.
You just ordered.
Yeah, I'm full on one.
You got questions? Just questions sort of about the crime itself. Can you talk about like who's doing this and where's the wire ending up and how can that part of the problem be resolved?
Who's doing it? Criminals are doing it for profit. They're
It's not
obviously,
organized crime or kind of organized crime or just regular
well,
thieves?
degrees of organized crime, I guess you could say. It's organized in the fact that these individuals are very well prepared. They're obviously trying to put on a facade that they're, actual contractors for the service providers, et cetera, right? They're wearing reflective vests, sometimes helmets, that type of thing, right? So they're organized in a manner in which, they've done their homework, they know which areas to target. But yeah, as far as, and what was the other
Well, like,
part of
where's it ending up? So does it go overseas or is it in Calgary being sold or?
Well, it's yeah. From my knowledge, it's sold to recyclers, and recyclers have customers, throughout probably North America and perhaps offshore as well.
So if this is happening, you've sort of mentioned it, because there's a few different ways it's happening. Like, what
Right.
would people notice?
What would people notice?
Because it seems like they're pretty savvy, so.
Yeah, obviously, and they're often doing it in the early morning hours. They're also, like I said before, they're trying to create a facade that they might be a contractor, that type of thing. But these types of repairs don't occur generally in the early morning hours after dark. They're generally done during the day. So people that are, maybe they're woken up in their neighborhood hearing some, unusual sounds, investigate and please report anything that you believe is suspicious. Yeah.
There was a fire yesterday on 17th Avenue, and the crews said that people were burning plastic off of wires. Is there any connection to that, or any update at all?
I'm not aware of that. That a fire was related to wire. Okay.
But is that what they do? They burn the
Yeah,
plastic?
they burn the casings off the wire, so they can take raw copper to the recyclers and get get paid for it. So, and
You notice the burning and the smelling?
absolutely, yeah.
There's obviously a big market for this. What's leading to that increase in demand, I guess, for copper wire that would then presumably be?
Well, obviously, the finished product is what they're destroying to get to the raw product. So, it's a supply and demand thing. Copper is, like we were saying, the recyclers are paying anywhere from $5.50 to $6 a pound, which is, a fraction of the value of the actual product that they're destroying. So, it's really frustrating from a community perspective to have your infrastructure and services like was mentioned. You don't have now access to 911 or, so it's serious. It's very serious, so.
Give me some of the locations of where because I always think of like guys going down into the sewers to pull this stuff out. But are there other locations? Like, I want the public to know that, yeah, you know what? They'll take it from behind a building. They'll take it out of the sewer. Where are some of the locations where they're getting this heavy copper wire?
Well, A lot of them are in manholes along alleys, roadways. Sometimes they, cross fields, etc. Generally, the individuals cut the wire at one manhole, go to the next manhole, which is, several hundred meters sometimes away, and at that point they pull the wire out and they cut it into manageable pieces that can be picked up. It's very, very heavy.
Oh, so that's interesting. The citizens should look for that. And actually at 4 a.m., if you see guys in the sewer and they've got two sewers open up,
Yeah.
that's the kind of scene that these scenes are.
Absolutely, and back in August, we actually had an individual, a citizen, walking to the LRT to go to work in the early morning hours, about 7 o'clock, and these individuals were driving a beat-up truck. They did have some type of PPE on, but they claimed to be contractors for the city of Calgary, and he called him on it, called us, and anyway, as a result, by the time we got there, they were gone, but due to that information, we were able to lay a charge of theft over and property damage over in relation to that incident. So,
Thank you.
I understand the role the public plays in it. It just feels a little reactive. Is there anything proactive that can be done or that you guys are working on to try to prevent this increase?
well, yeah, we're aware of those that visit the recyclers with quantities of now unidentifiable raw copper. We're working on this in a number of different ways. We have a number of ongoing investigations that I'm not going to get into to protect the integrity of those investigations, but I hope, does that answer your question?
That's super helpful. Thank you. The RCMP officer. Thanks a lot, Mr. Chisholm. You're great. The reason I have a question for you is I'm really thinking needle in haystack. I mean, you guys have such a broad territory and I can't help but think there's actually more copper being stolen rurally than Calgary.
I believe that to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah. The statistics which say that there's more copper being stolen in the rural areas, and like I touched in my comments there, it's very remote and isolated. There's expensive equipment, expensive sites. It's hard for citizens to see and report easily, but we still know that farmers and people in the rural community are very vigilant, and we want them not to second guess phoning in if they think something's suspicious. We'd rather be the judge of it than them, push it away and not report to us.
And that raises my next question. The signs, I believe, will be more effective rurally. They may be used in Calgary, but I think the signs, when you see those signs and you think of them being out on some of the range roads and grid roads around, how helpful do you think it'll be?
I think it'll be, people often need reminders of what to do and when to do it. So a visual reminder such as this sign, I think will be very helpful to them because we get complacent in our life and some people aren't as affected by crime as others. So a reminder that, hey, this is an area where that happens. I should be on the lookout would be super beneficial for us, industry and agriculture, to help drive down the thefts.
And how much fear does this create in our rural communities? I mean, there's always a level of it, but we're now seeing a bit of an escalation.
I think it creates a lot of fear. We've talked to victims of this who are genuinely worried for their livelihood. Like there's huge costs, and some of these smaller farms or smaller companies that are losing it. It's a big line item in their budgets to fix and repair. There's also a lot of anger. People are feeling personally attacked, like this is their livelihood and this is how they earn their living. So we see a lot of anger in the rural communities about this and towards the perpetrators of it.
What's the worst case scenario outcome with all these thefts?
Well, like a 911 outage is a huge problem. Someone is in need of assistance, can't get it. That, to me, is the nightmare situation. All police services, emergency services go to great lengths to make sure their 911 systems are operating smoothly at all times. So when someone goes in and throws a kink like that, legitimately people can die and probably have died because of it.
They mentioned replacing copper wire. Is that something that would help in these cases, or farmers and?
Well, certainly if you are in a position to replace copper wire, that would be beneficial because then it wouldn't be able to be stolen. But there's huge costs to that to change to alternative methods and then the installation of that. So I know bigger companies such as TELUS are trying. Sometimes it's not viable, but it's much more of a burdensome thing for smaller entities.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adeline? Just quickly, just wanted to mention that with Calgary Crime Stoppers, someone asked about awareness, right? So what we are out is in the community. So we've been to 3 or 4 communities, their events, providing awareness, right? We're also doing things with the media, like today, and we have coffee with the folks at CPS. We go to their events. We do everything we can to get that information out for awareness, right? Crime Stoppers is all about awareness. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do with copper theft and the copper theft wire. So that's trying to be proactive, right? Trying to have that foot forward, and that's the whole purpose for today. So, and I think TELUS just wanted to add just a quick follow-up remarks, if that's okay.
Thank you. Just wanted to follow up on some of the questions. The processing of this copper cable, usually what they do, and this is as crude as it gets, they take an old mattress, they douse it with diesel fuel, and they put the cable on it, and it goes down to the bare copper. I will also say that's important for the public to know and for scrap dealers to know is no one uses the cable TELUS uses in Western Canada. Nobody. This is very specific cable. The conductor size is 26 gauge, 24 gauge, 22 gauge. No one uses this type of cable anywhere in Western Canada except for TELUS. And that's maybe a little bit frustration on our part because when it is turned into a scrap dealer, it is very evident that this is TELUS cable. So I just wanted to follow up on that. Any other questions or? Sure.
I'm done. Is the copper wire, it's like a power cord and also a telecommunications cord?
No. Like for instance, this most recent theft over in Ogden, it's a 3,000 pair cable. So it's about this big around, and there's 3,000 individual conductors in there that are 26 gauge cable. And each one of those pairs of cable can provide service to a customer. So if that cable was full, let's say 3,000 customers, the moment you cut it, 3,000 customers have no service. So the only power running through our cable is generated from our central offices to power facilities in the field. And it's a DC voltage, not an AC voltage. But there is no power, there's no, you would think, power conductors in our manholes. It's only telecommunications cable.
But the pivot one, right? That's
The pivot would, yes, I would defer. I would defer to
I was
the.
just curious, is it like all telecom wires or telecom and power wires?
The pivot cables are completely different. They're large, 0 and 2 aughts. So we're talking about a cable. The actual metal is literally, again, this big, but it's big cables. So this is high energy power. This is high voltage power. And so for us to replace it, that's why it's so costly, for a cable to run across from the edge of a field out to the middle of the field where the pivot's at. You're looking at $8,000 to $10,000 in just cable. And when they rip the cables off, they hook on with the pickup truck generally, is what they do. And I don't know if you guys have seen large pivots in the fields or not, but they're large. They cover a whole quarter section when they do a rotation. And so ultimately when they grab onto them, there's all these clips along that whole pivot cable that go for half that quarter section. They all have to be replaced, and they ripped them right off, basically. So it's a major undertaking to go and replace it, and it's a major cost. And like I mentioned, if the cable is not replaceable in the period of time they need it, we're out of water, and ultimately we lose crops. And those are, like I said, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars of losses.